For those that don't know, this is Andreas Kling. He's the one writing Ladybird. You may have heard of Ladybird. It's a browser. He's been just absolutely crushing making a browser that's not filled with spyware, that's slowly getting to the point of actually becoming quite useful. And so he writes the following. Well, let's first, I guess, look at the inside. The inside is this right here. Now, a lot of fans are basically fans of fandom itself. It's all about them. They have mastered the Star Wars and Star Trek universes or whatever, but their objects of veneration are useful mainly as a backdrop to their own devotion. Anyone who would camp out in a tent on a sidewalk for weeks in order to be the first in line for a movie is more into camping on the sidewalk than movies. Extreme fandom may serve as a security blanket for the socially inept who uses its extreme structure as a substitute for social skills. If you are Luke Skywalker and she is Princess Leia, you already know what to say to each other, which is much safer than having to ad-lib it. Your fanish obsession is your beard. If you know absolutely all the trivia about your cubbyhole of pop culture, it saves you from having to know anything about anything else. That's why it's excruciatingly boring to talk to such people. They're always asking you questions they know the answer to. Okay? All right? A lot of programmers are basically fans of programming itself. It's all about them. They have mastered Rust or Haskell or Zig or whatever, but their objects of veneration are useful mainly as a backdrop to their own cleverness. Anyone who will spend 6 weeks rewriting a working system in a new language to make the types nicer is more into the rewrite than the product. Okay. So I feel directly attacked by this because I did rewrite from Lua to Odin, but can we just take a second? Hey, can we just take 1 second? Can I at least explain myself? Lua, I had to catch most of the errors at runtime. It was also extremely difficult to bundle a Love 2D application into a single binary. Odin, very easy to bundle things into a single binary on multiple platforms, including Mac and Windows and Linux. And hear me out here. Hear me out. The types also work. So things that I would catch in the runtime with Lua, I caught in the compile time with Odin. Okay. Now, if I were to rewrite, say, from Odin to Rust or Odin to something else, I would get that. That would be an exercise in type masturbation. But I do want to throw something out here that I think even though this is obviously one of those joking kind of statements, he's just rewriting. This is just like copy pasta altering. There's something in here that I've just been thinking a lot about, which I'm trying to figure out the right thing to do in the era that we live in, if that makes sense. I'm trying to figure out the right thing to do in the era that we live in, meaning there was an era in which everything you did, you'd want to scrutinize to an absolute nth degree. And now there's an entire class of software and things you can build where you scrutinize to, say, this 50th percentile. And then there's things you can scrutinize to the 0th percentile. And so it's like there's this whole world that we live in which this world of, which actually did exist, right? This was actually a real world right here. It's just no longer, it doesn't feel as relevant or as real as it once did. And so it's one of these things where I've just been sitting here watching and just trying to figure out what is my position. Because there are a set of things that I want to be concerned on every line of code. And then there's a set of things that I should not be concerned on every line of code. I should maybe only be concerned about interfaces. And I've been finding this to be this like really difficult thing where I just don't understand how to operate in the interface only world. Like, I'm not good at that. I'm not good at this idea of just letting go, and I don't understand how to do that as well, right? I find that to be very, very challenging and difficult. So when I saw this, yeah, like I understand it's totally one of these, this is just a big copy pasta and all this, but it's definitely something that I think a lot of people are feeling, which is, to what level should you care? How do you know what level do you care to? How do you know you're over caring, right? Like, because the reality, like, let's just be real, the little tower defense game I'm creating, I could care less and I could probably be a lot further ahead. Honestly, is me deeply caring about the code, is that really going to do anything for me? Is that really going to make the game that much better? I want to say yes. I want to say when you deeply care about something, when you truly do deeply care about something, you not only care about the thing itself, but you care about the experience through and through, which typically kind of bleeds itself out into like all the minor details that actually make something really, really great. You know what I mean? Like, the craft is not the point. The game is the point. I don't mistake the destination for the journey, right? Like, I don't mistake the destination for the journey. I think a lot of people do mistake the destination for the journey, but at the end of the day, as I've said 1,000 times on the stream, even years before AI was a thing, people don't care about how hard you worked on a game. People care about how fun the game is, right? I want to care a lot about the game. And so I just have this I have this really hard time, which is, to what level should I care? I don't know. And right now, for like the game itself, I care about every line of code. But I'm trying to figure out, like, can I build something? Is it possible? Does there exist a world where you can care 75%? I want to figure out, does that world exist? Caring about the game does not equal caring about the code, though. That's not necessarily true. Caring about the game, like, there is most certainly something that exists in which the more you care about the entirety, the more every little detail will bother you, and the more engaged you are. I'm not really sure. I don't know if you can actually say this is 100% true. I've seen too many vibe coded stuff to know that people who vibe code typically overlook details. Details that really feel good, right? Like that feel like the things that really, the caring has diminishing returns. Exactly. How do you accept diminishing returns? That's like saying you don't care about the materials your house is built from. It's a little bit different. I mean, again, it's not, I don't think that that's quite right, right? Isn't caring for the code good for preventing cognitive debt? Yes, it is. That's why I do that. That's why I'm currently doing that. I typically know what the code is, even though I have generated like of this game, this Odin game, probably about 50% of the code has been generated, but I know effectively where every line is. And if you go and you look at like how I use these things here, let's just jump into this one. Like when you look at how I generate, like this is me talking about with the AI, one little thing as I've just had to go run little errands or go pick weeds and stuff. And as you can see, like, that's a lot of back and forth. That's a lot of back and forth for this much code, for 60 lines of code, right? Like, I'm definitely spending more time on code or on talking to the agent than I am lines of code. Like, I could produce this faster. There's nothing about this that is about speed. It's truly just about convenience, right? It's about the fact that I can go and pull weeds and get the stuff I need to get done while also shaping something into the way in which I want. Does that make sense? And so that's where it's like I've struggled on what is the meaningfulness. Anyways, I just struggle with this thought a lot. You know, I've talked to you guys like how many times about this. I'm not coming out here and telling you everybody all the answers. I'm not out here trying to say like this is the easy way to do things. I am clearly attempting to figure this all out as well. I'm also out here trying to figure out how can I create a looping program. How can I do a looping program and build my own harness such that I can actually build something that loops, and then can I produce good code? Can I produce big projects? Like what can I do with the loop that's useful? Can I go out there and just produce something in which is, okay, yeah, the code quality's crap, but it meets a need for something I want to use? Okay, well, that has a value to it. Can I care about the details while looping? My guess is no, that's like really difficult. Like you can't care about the details while looping. That's my hypothesis, right? And so like I have this whole like, I don't want to be the person that just gets up here and tells you how to live your life. Anyways, sorry, that's just me. I just wanted to lament for a second. It's not even really lamenting. I'm just trying to figure it out. Anyways, you're making us sad. I'm not trying to make you sad. I'm trying to think about how to do things, right? Like there has to be some level of value, right? I just want you to think about all the people there, because there's a lot of you guys listen to a lot of different voices. How many of the voices try to prove themselves wrong live, like on Twitter or in code? You probably don't have many people that are trying to prove you wrong. You have a lot of people that are just simply trying to tell you how to do something. I'm trying to prove myself wrong all the time on the internet. How do I show that I am incorrect on my thought process? Does that make sense? You know, I want to be more actively engaged in how I think, which is it's just been difficult.